the story so far. There was some diddling around early in the game. Things kind of pitched down to a heavy battle. Coming around here, the Guelphs, you can see the Ghibellines have been capturing and gaining overall, so they're a little ahead. The Guelphs came around, actually smacked their way through here. You can see the Ghibellines are making their way back. Laid siege to Siena, and actually from Lucca laid siege to Pisa, but they ran out of gas and their armies basically fell apart. This wasn't really a terrible mistake on my part. It was more of I was taking a big chance in terms of those forces being able to effectuate something. In either case, they could have gotten lucky and could have taken the city. It would have been a big deal if Siena had fallen. Pisa, not so much, because there is this, although it's more expensive to bring a Podesta in a secondary location. And on the last turn or so, the Guelphs fled from here after their army kind of disintegrating, and now they're being swept back by Ghibelline forces who are right now besieging a castle. They were hoping to catch the army, but didn't get much luck either. And neither side has a whole hell of a lot of troops on the board. The point spread is not quite far enough for anybody to up the ante. And upping the ante doesn't necessarily help the person who's doing it. All right, I got to cut because video's almost out. Okay, well, without having to worry about jury duty and whatnot, I can return to my normal schedule. Though I'm considering going shopping, but tomorrow's supposed. It's kind of cooled down a little bit. I thought it was going to be 90 tomorrow, and it's actually not. But then it is on Thursday and Friday. Not that I'd go shopping on Friday, but anyway, we're on the levy phase. Well, let's see what we got. Val d'Orcia. If a castle is marked Guelph, shift Colle cylinder or service 3 calendar boxes. Guelphs may declare a call to arms. Now remember, one side declares a call to arms, both sides get it. But we already just put Siena on the board. Getting Firenze off and restarting him might be very advantageous since I'm planning on pulling him off. So I think we're going to do this. Okay. Is a castle marked Guelph? This is a castle, and it is marked Guelph. Under siege or no? It is. So, Colle. Colle is the white one? I think so. Yes, he is. So he okay. Which white one? Yes, white background. Both have white on them. 1, 2, 3. Pretty big deal. And I'll keep this out. And now I draw another one. Genova. Shift Firenze, Lucca, and Colle cylinder or service 1 calendar box each, or add 1 of their treachery. Basically, Firenze is going away, because I'm going to call to arms. Colle, nothing good's going to happen with that. It's already as far as it can go. So only Lucca would be in play. That could be useful. And I don't have any treachery that I have all their treachery. So indeed, we will shift Lucca. Let's see what the Ghibellines get. The Giblets. Cortona. Hold. Play for treachery at Cortona. Haven't we had this and thrown it away before? I do believe so. I don't know where Cortona is. Cortona's over here. Or, if Cortona Ghibelline, roll on the revolt table or add 1 treachery. Okay. I may play this right away. But let's draw our other card. Play to shift Siena or Pisa or service. Pisa cylinder or service. 2 calendar boxes, or give one of them lordship +3. And I think that only lasts for 1 levy, because it's not a capability. So, didn't we have that question before? Siena or Pisa? Siena's on the board. I don't need to shift them yet. This is a useful card, though. Might play it. Might play it. But there's no value to playing it now until after the levy and the call to arms. And at that point, maybe there's no point at all. Anyway, we don't know that he has this, do we? Yes, we do. So, yeah, we definitely are aware, so we would not do anything of that nature. And now, pay. Firenze needs to be paid. Well, screw him. Anyone else want to be paid? Not particularly. I could pay Luca, but there's no reason to. I can wait it out. So we will take Firenze off the board. Along with this, I'm going to put these here because I think we're going to do the call to arms. And this goes away. And this goes 1, 2, 3 out, sort of. Not really. And all this shit goes away. Okay. I will leave these because I'm definitely doing it. All right. And that's the only payment there. There are no... Provenzo. Provenzo has no money. Poor Provenzo. Sucks to be him. He was supposed to go back and tax or something. That's why he was supposed to head back here. Oops. Okay, well, he gets cleared off. This is a matter of stuff that I'm aware of in the game, but just there's so much game state out here that that kind of screw up is just going to happen. It's exactly what I was complaining about, I think, in the last video. It might be at the beginning, it might be earlier in this one, but I don't think so. I think it's in the previous video. And again, I don't know what my feelings are about that, right? Like, what bothers me about it is that a person who's more careful at playing is not going to get what seem like these kind of random, oh, I fucked up results all over the place. Now, I don't mind that kind of care in most war games being required. Like, pay attention, man. You know, make sure that you understand what's going on. But often the game state is relatively easy to draw in. There's so much confusion and so much messiness in the game state of in discerning the game state of this one that I kind of feel like there are just going to be people who are able to avoid what feels like kind of realistic problems that would happen. That, you know, because the argument as to what's going on or whatever is somebody's like, oh, fuck it, I'm tired of this war. You know, I'm going home, we're not getting anything. I have a personal dispute with one of the other lords and I turn away and go away. All kind of shit like that. And that simply by being more careful somehow, and that somehow is a really weird situation, right? Like, what did he need to do? He needed to move back to where he's more comfortable or whatever. But just by being more careful as a player, you can have these guys do what they want to do to keep them in the war. It's not... So if this was a computer game, you would have Provenzano say, you know, to you, if you're say in charge of the overall thing, let's say you're Siena or whatever, the Podesta of Siena, you would have Provenzano say, look, you've got me stationed out here. I don't want to be here. Let me go home. You know, and you'd be given options, one of which, if it was more of a role-playing type thing, one of which is, yeah, you can go back to Siena, but keep your troops in the field, or something like that. But another one is, no, fuck you, stay out there. And then it wouldn't be automatic, right, that he just disappears, because that feels funny. That's part of it. It's this sort of just absolute knowledge of, yeah, I didn't have the money, he is automatically disbanding or whatever. I almost feel like there should be more randomness in this system. That would make me feel a lot better about the fuck-ups, because then it would be, oh, I took a chance on something that I wasn't really thinking about, as opposed to, I absolutely know that he was going to leave the battlefield at this point, and I could have absolutely planned for it. Now, some of that is just my personality. I don't like the level of planning this system requires, but yeah. This particular game is overloading my capability to deal with game state. Speaking of something completely different, I've got Raid playing upstairs, which is why I'm down here at this hour, because it turns out I need, I didn't know until a couple hours ago that I need to do something that I was planning on putting off, that I was planning on skipping. And now I'm like, well, wow, if I skip it, I'm not going to get the rewards that I was hoping for. I'm allowed to like skip 250 points of something, and this was a 50-point thing, and I'm like, okay, I think, I can skip this and 5 other, because they've all been kind of 50-point things. There may have been 100 in there. Well, now there's one that's really expensive to get to that I definitely don't want to do, that would give me 250 points. And yeah, anyway. Which is sort of a... And there might be another one out there that I really don't want to do, in which case I would have rather skipped this as well, because I'm going to get butt kiss. Yeah, like this, the one that I'm doing isn't worth much unless I get every single other point. And otherwise I lose some ground. I don't know. We'll see. But I have a feeling that 250, I don't know. There's more big points out there. I know there are. Because there's not a lot of time on this event. So where am I? I am on... We did the disbands. I'm on muster time. God. Well, at least there aren't a lot of people for the muster, but then the call to arms is going to happen. To proceed with my muster, knowing that I'm going to call to arms, I wanted to look at the call to arms section. I look here on the cheat sheet, and yeah, I kind of know gather, commander, commune. I know what those are going to do. It was what the allies is going to do. One lord may use his lordship 3 as able 3.4, or that side may muster a lord without a roll. All right. Well, I don't know what the lordship with a 3 in it means. Turns out, it's not that you get a lordship of 3. I wish it didn't have the fucking number there. That's part of the problem. But I guess when they put a number in there, it means nothing. What matters is just the shape. So they use their actual lordship. I looked it up in the rules. But again, it's why you can't kind of trust the cheat sheet type thing, is that sometimes it tells you things, or the way it states things is just very misleading. And it's one of the reasons that I rely on the rule book for so much. Like I don't bother with this. I just go to the rule book for it. I don't bother with the treachery sheet, because again, I don't know if I can trust it. It might tell me something absolutely wrong, and when I get comfortable with the rule book, I'm not gonna then try to translate it over to something else, because even though I've done this before, I still don't remember this. It just struck me as kind of odd. Why is there a 3 there? Does it mean no matter what you get a 3, or you can only use lords with a rating of 3? No, neither of those. The 3 shouldn't be there. Maybe put a question mark in there. Maybe put something else, but not a number that seems to indicate something. If they didn't use the icon at all, they could have written 2/3, because all the lords have 2 or 3 points. Or they could have put the little symbols with a slash between them or something. But no, they decide to put a specific number in there and fucking confuse me. like a little confused, and this has to do with me leaving the table or whatever regularly. Luca is the besieger here. I was thinking he wasn't. I was looking for something that would maybe burn the siege engines in the cards, but he can't even muster. Guido mustered 2 of his troops. This puts his pay up 2, 4, 6, 8, 9 to a ×2 feed. And I'm not going to roll for Colle because I can take him as an ally. That may not be wise. I'm not going to roll for Colle because I can't. He can't muster. Well, shit be me. Okay. Alright. So, yeah, I'm going to be using his service rating to muster the Ferenz troops after that. But we go over here. Yeah, I have this guy, but he starts out way down here. I just don't think I want him. He has decent forces. I might bring him in later. Right now, I don't think he actually helps me. I think I want my gathering up here. Otherwise, I could muster him and he could march towards things, but he's behind a paywall here. He'd be able to, I don't know what, he'd be able to there's something he can do. Gather. Each unbesieged lord of that side anywhere on the map may march his command rating. So if I brought him out early, he has a command rating of 3. He could move 3, 1, 2, 3 up to here. Assuming that he's not overladen. He's not overladen, and he wouldn't have to feed. And that still doesn't look terribly useful to me. I think I want to move my force down to where it can react to that, or maybe down in this direction and go for the big battle up there. Anyway, I'm still looking at Siena. I just realized as I was looking that I have these, and then I'm like, ah, there's another purple lord. What this card's doing here. Ah. For each draw, I didn't just draw this. I drew, I think these 2. I don't know, but yeah. Right, so I take a look at the cards. I only have one person who can muster. It's Pisa. He's under siege, but he can still levy and whatnot. I have 3 cards that are of interest. One is this one. Besieged, he can use his entire command to reduce to 1 siege there. That could be useful or not. But it makes his defense, he gets 1 wall per defense, which is kind of nice. I have the heavy ballista, or heavy crossbows. Men-at-arms have half their value of crossbows, -2 to defender's armor, and I get to select targets. That's a really nice capability. I kind of want that. I could also give myself archery ×1.5. I actually think these are more valuable to me than this. So I'll take both of these. I don't need carts. Provender is simply a problem. Now, can I supply? Well, I look here. Besieged if stores and well water. Yeah, so I have that. So I'm allowed, I can last forever in Pisa. Essentially, nothing's going to force me out except term limits, which are always in the future. So I'm not too worried about that. I have a couple of coin. I'm in great shape. Could I tax? This does not say even if besieged or anything like that. I'm guessing I can't, but I don't know. I think I checked this, but again, like, even if besieged may just mean that you can't do any of these things if you're besieged unless there's something that indicates that you can. But here there's no little siege marker, so I don't know what these little siege markers are all about at all. Like, at first I thought they were the key to, hey, you can do this if besieged. But these two don't have a siege marker. But they do have information. So, yeah, I just don't know. No idea whatsoever. Like this one, you have to be besieged. Yeah, I think it's just there to confuse me again. Like using different different ways of using additional ways of communicating that they're sieged, because there's enough space to put that marker there, but there wouldn't be enough space to put it in either of these. And I don't know. And, you know, obviously I can pass if I'm besieged. You know? But that's where I'm getting it. Oh, here, besieged. Sally supply, forage, pass, reinforced walls, with special restrictions for supply and forage. Supply, you need the stores and well water. Forage only if besieged by fewer lords than the city value. So, you know, there's gaps and you can run out and grab some chickens or something. But again, you know, sure, the information is kind of there, but why are these fucking symbols there? I don't know. They're there to cause problems, as far as I'm concerned. Or you know, I always like sunrises and sunsets. I think a lot of people do. But I prefer the sunsets because I'm more likely to be up during them. But you know, there's always a nice sunrise here. When I was working, I would regularly get to see it, and I kind of do now too, because I'm nocturnal. So I pretty much go to sleep sometime after the sun's risen. But there's a Who song about that, something about who never get to live twice or something. But I don't feel like I get to particularly live better. But I love sitting out on my porch and watching a sunset, and I haven't been able to do that really since way early in Phoenix. I think I was already doing videos that far back, but because I basically lived in two places that were exactly the same layout, or essentially the same layout in two different condo complexes, but they were built very similar and looked exactly the same, and I just felt like I'd moved from, you know, one thing that was, yeah, into a different place, and I had a better view of construction construction yard. The other one, I had a view of the highway and a pool right under me. The pool that was under me, though, was like not part of my complex. It was an ugly motel. But anyway, I did get really nice sunsets off that first place. The second place, I kind of got them reflected off of buildings and mountains and stuff, but it's not the same. For the call to arms, I get to gather, I think I'm going to gather, Guido's where he belongs. I think I am going to gather Lucca and give up this siege. The main reason being, I just don't have a lot of troops here. So why did I play this? I didn't. He was considering it. I already have the good one. Yeah, so I have a command of 2, so I can move back here, and it just abandons the siege. But I'm not getting anywhere with the siege. The only way I would get somewhere with the siege is if I bring more forces with me. And I would rather not do that. I would rather fight a field battle if it comes down to it. Then commander to arms, I will bring Firenze into play. I will bring the commune into play. That is for certain. And if desired, disband us, if then muster the commander inside his leading city. Then I bring the commune in. That allows me to bring all the special vassals out. I must bring some of them, in particular this, and at least one of these. And Then I can do the allies, which will allow me... Oh, it can't be the commander. Ooh, did I screw that up? Yeah. So I don't know what I'm going to do there. I can't bring Cole in because he's locked out. I can't bring... I don't want to bring this guy in because he's in a stupid place. Which means either Guido or Luca is going to get a muster. I may well have fucked things up last time I did this. So, these are the symbols of the lords, of the vassals of Firenze. And I may not be able to bring all of these in. So, well, I can't find them. Maybe they just don't have any effect on play. I was looking, I'm like, oh, what about this guy? Well, that guy's probably one of Cole's, so... Yeah. Yeah. So these are the symbols that are here, but they actually have no impact on play at all, as far as I can tell. Which is real helpful. I guess it's nice to have their shields. Anyway, for the allies, I already have 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. I could have brought it to 11, to 12. That would be fine, and I would still be at feed times 2. But I brought the troops up on Luca. It gives me a little bit better balance across the board, I think. I don't know. I can always muster this later. And it got me an extra cart here, which is important because I have 5 provender, so I can move without having to be laden or anything like that. And it's going to be important. There are some tracks that I'm going to have to move on there. So that's the end of the call to arms for them. Now we go over to this call to arms. And I can gather. The only thing that's going on here is I'm back a couple of provender. So I'm not going to gather with that. Pisa could gather. Now that this has been opened up, I'm allowed to run away. Do I want to? It's a good fucking question. Pisa has enough carts to carry their stuff. He's kind of interesting because he can patrol along here as long as he's moving port to port. He is in an exposed location. I'm having a hard time deciding on this because if the Guelphs go for him, that's an issue. But if they don't go for him, then I might be free to do some stuff I wouldn't otherwise be able to do. Why did I take all this? Yeah, I don't know. I really don't know now. Oh, because I knew that was coming. Well, I didn't absolutely know. But I am curious. Cortona is Ghibelline. I'm going to play this for the revolt table because I don't really like the treachery cards. They cost money, man, but the revolt table doesn't. Of course, I'm unlikely to get anything, but this can change my decision making here. 65 Castiglione, which has to be down here somewhere. It's right there. I believe that falls. There's no enemies there whatsoever. So I get a Ghibelline point there. And that's a whole victory point. Yay. And he gets, the Guelph get a bonus off this, which is I can move a cylinder or another thing forward in my favor. I think I want that. Let me check my coinage. I don't have a fucking hell of a lot of coinage. I have a decent amount though. So yeah, moving the cylinder, using coinage can add to my lasting capabilities. But moving a cylinder, I have no way to do that other than through events and whatnot, like this. I know this. I can help plan what I'm intending to do. I lost my page because I'm stupid. All right. So the first thing is gather. I don't want to move Astenberg. I'm trying to decide on Pisa. That's where I'm stuck at. Fucking hell. I think I'll just leave him. I don't know. Like, he's so far away from Siena. If he was able to get there easily, that would be interesting. He could get as far as Volterra, which if we're going to fight on this axis, that's fine, but I don't know that we are. So I'm going to leave Pisa where he is. I'm leaving Astenberg where he is. I'm leaving Siena where he is, sort of. Because next I go commander to arms. I'm going to disband Siena because he starts out with 2 extra provender. If I don't disband him. And it doesn't matter, like if I gathered him, I still couldn't use his lordship for a muster with the call to allies. For my call to allies, I bring Giordano in over here. My only other option was this. For that disc over there, I don't have another. The only other cylinder is Provenzano, and he's pissed. But he didn't have to be. Some kind of personal disagreement. I looked at these cards. I don't think there was anything I wanted to do there. That should be the end of the levy phase. I'm fatigued after doing this much stuff, which is fine. We're in the habit of doing the levy going away and then the campaign. Because really, like, I haven't found myself making the mistakes that I made. I remember making mistakes in Almoravid where between the levy and the campaign where it got me in some trouble. But I think I've gotten better at not making that mistake. And that's the thing. Maybe eventually, after a couple more plays, I'll get used to this board, the mess of this system. And, you know, one of the things going against that is it's not a very long game, right? It's longer than any of the others. But usually, for more complex games, I need them to be big, long scenarios for me to really, like, dig in deep. It's not often that I'll play a game multiple times near each other. Unless I feel like I fucked up completely. You know, like I did here, the first couple turns, I'm like, oh, the game's over already because I fucked up. Well, I fucked up multiple times since then in the second play, but none of them have ended the game early. Some have come close. Another thing that can happen is if I feel like I'm not getting something about the game, I'm really not getting it. It's not like I made lots of mistakes because there's too much game state being represented in different formats and whatnot. That's something I wasn't able to overcome in the Europa Universalis pop. But on the other hand, the original Europa Universalis, the La Grande Guerre, La Révolution Française, there are games that I play and I'm like, I just didn't understand the game. I didn't understand what the point of the game was. And then I had to play them right away again afterwards. That's becoming rarer and rarer just because of time. Like, I only have, hopefully, very few months to live. But even if I don't, I look at the collection that I have right now, the incoming games that I'm getting every year, which I've cut way back, right? Because it was obscene. It wasn't like I was getting all that many games, but I'm just not, like, I was barely keeping up with the games that I was getting. But, you know, I'm still not making that big a dent into, you know, there's still a good 500 games or so in my collection that I haven't covered yet. And yeah, some of them I don't mind that I don't cover, you know, but some of them, there's a lot of them, you know. Not the next thing I'm going to play, that's another newer game, but the thing that I'm kind of planning after that has been on my short list for, Jesus, it's getting close to 15 years now on that. 13 years or whatever, yeah. Since I started doing these videos. And I'm slower at them than I used to be. Doesn't matter whether I'm working or not. You know, it's funny, when I first started doing these videos, I was working outside the house. I had to sometimes, I think when I first started, I had like a 45-minute trek back and forth each way from work. So there's an extra like 2 hours, you know, out of my day. But I felt like I was really zipping through stuff. I really wanted to do games. The internet had stopped being as interesting as it used to be. But now I found, you know, especially since I started working from home, and then now that I'm not working at all, I find myself just listening to videos all the time and finding other things to do and fiddle around. And Raid is one of those, but, you know, it's eating up my time in a way that, like, it used to be, I was just like, I'll play games, and I would push through them much, much harder. I just don't have it in me anymore. Absolutely fair. Let's go look at some of the friends who are out there on the street. To be fair about all of that, I think it has less to do with, you know, I'm depressive now or whatever. I think it had to do with the fact that, like, I had been away from gaming for several years, 4 or 5 years, almost entirely, and was just able to get back into it. And on top of that, it had been like quite a while before I realized that there were tons of new games out there, which, you know, not just tons of new games, but ones that were interesting to me. Different types of games, like GMT I was barely aware of before that period. I knew the gamers had come out, but they weren't putting out a lot of games ever. And you know, I was mainly interested in the tactical gunpowder era stuff. And then, you know, if we look at some of the Euros, I had a very different view of Euros before, you know, from back in the 90s. I had a very different view of the German games, but where things had changed, you know, stuff like Brass and I'm trying to remember what else. But I picked up a couple of really exciting games that excited me. Imperial, games that just intrigued me so much, and they got me caught up. And then, like, the CDGs, I had never been big into CDGs back when they first came out, because We the People came out with those stupid battle cards, and then Hannibal came out with stupid battle cards, and I just didn't enjoy them at all. And then, you know, I pick up Twilight Struggle, which I think is a pretty good game. I really do. I think it plays in a fun sort of way. And then, like, Here I Stand, and I was just like, wow, they're all awesome. Well, no, they're not all awesome. I ended up buying a lot more of them, and I was kind of excited about it. But then, you know, what I found out is the ones that are a little less abstract, I'm a little less excited about, because they have too much magic in them, man. Any chance of me going shopping today is pretty much shot, unless I do it in the morning, which I probably wouldn't do, because I've just been too gung-ho, too wired. Coffee and whatever, you know. As soon as I found out I wasn't doing jury duty, right? But as we start the campaign, I'm trying to do the planning for the Guelphs, and I run into a problem right away. Luca, whatever, you know, I'll figure out what's up with them. But this is my prime force. And unfortunately, I have Guido with me. Guido kind of sucks because he doesn't have anything here. He doesn't have a real source of supply, anything that uses... Now, of course, this says Guelph seats each can supply. So maybe he does? I don't know. But these are outposts as opposed to... Alright, so we're going to need to find the playbook. Where did I hide it? It's way under here. Okay. So let's make sure. I think this says something different. So this is F1. I've been doing them as one. Something convinced me to do them as one. Like reading this. Guelph seats. And I'm just not sure. So that, yeah, here we go. Guelph seats even to a lord besieged there. All Guelphs equal to stronghold. Okay, from each seat used as a source, including from ruined seats and from outposts. Okay, so I can do the whole 4. Something had led me to say I couldn't. Or maybe I'm just mistaken. Okay, so we're fine. We've got Guido we can rely on to get us supplies, which is really important. It's one of the advantages of the commander situation. The commander's in charge of the movement. Everyone else is in charge of the other stuff. You know, as much as you can manage. Of course, with a big force like this, if I'm doing an assault or something, I want that to spearhead it. Perfect, though, in various other ways, because I have 4, 8, 9, 10 carts. That's enough carts for me to pull all 4 from there on each call. He gets 2 calls, so I can pull 8 food using Guido. Then I have 8, 11, 12, 13 with 10 carts, which means I'll be overladen when I move. And then I kind of don't have enough carts to reach all the way back there easily. I think I want to combine here, although this is very valuable to me. But I can bring Luca into play in this direction. So I guess I'm going to do Guido Firenze. But Firenze only gets me to here with all that, with how laden I am. And I eat 7 of my food. Now, I just pulled in 8, so I'm up 1. I only have 6 total. Now I have to supply again. In here, Luca could get me... He has enough he could carry. He could get me to here, which is really important because I move Firenze again. He's going to still only be able to move 1 space because his command rating's only 2, which sucks. But now I can move Luca 1, 2 because he's not laden, and I can supply with Luca, who's going to be cheaper to supply. He's only 2 away with each. So I'll do that. I've done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have 1 more card. I'll do another Firenze. I may not be overladen here, which might get me to here. It might not. I don't know. I might use the rest as supply. But that's what we're going to do. It should get us set up to start marching down this way and take these back. That's what I say. And you notice I'm not calculating to the penny anymore, right? These forces are so big, and I actually know that I'm gaining supply, at least on that first supply run. But I think I will also with the Luca one. I'm probably going to lose supply with the second Guido supply, followed by the move. This is a little weird. Astenberg wants to proceed with his siege. I've got a pretty good chance of taking it. I'm rolling 1 die for a 3 or less, assuming no cards get played. I put another one to maybe move him back or move him into another location and gather resources. Okay. The order of that being iffy, but I have a lot of carts with Astenberg, so gathering resources using a supply action seems good, especially if I'm moving into Siena or whatever. Plus he has 3 commands, which is nice. That's listed up here too. But what if Astenberg doesn't make it back to Siena? Well, then I need to trigger Giordano to get myself additional food. Now, how much is Giordano going to get? Well, he's got 1 that he can get here using all these carts. He can only get 1 from there, but he can get 4 from there. So he'll get 5. He could get up to 15. 15's a hell of a lot. I have 6, 7, 8, 9 carts. That would bring me to 17 total. So I'm okay. I might be overloaded using Astenberg as well. What's up with Pisa? I don't know. I don't know if I want to move Pisa. He's been kind of the odd man out this whole time. So now maybe I've got everything together. I certainly have tons of food. I move Siena. Siena only has a movement of 2. That could get me into this area. It could get me down to here to siege that. So what do I do next? Do I have cards for anything? This guy has military cards, but no siege cards. So then the question is, what the fuck am I doing at this point? Astenberg's not a bad choice if I need more supplies. How much am I going to eat? Not that much. 2, 3, 4, looks like 5. I'm going to have huge quantities of food. I'm going to do another Siena. That gives me the most flexibility. If I'm here, I can still siege with Siena. But if I'm in one of these other locations, I'm going to probably want to move my force. So that's gotten me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Do I want to throw some treachery in? I have money, which is kind of cool. The most, let's say I'm sieging this or this. The closest supply person, if that's what I need, is Astenberg. Now I'm at 2, 4, 6. I have 1 more card I can play. I don't want to play a treachery because I probably am going to need... See, this would be a supply card at that point. Gah. Where's Provenzano here? He's not on the board. Giordano is no better really than Siena. So let's put another Siena in play there. We'll see how it works out. Again, I'm not completely set in terms of my plans. I felt like I could more loosely plan over here. And we'll flip 1 over. We get a Guido, that's going to be supplies. I'm going to pull away for a while. Go grab the required supplies. Astenberg had to spend a food. He tried to siege. He didn't get a surrender, and he can't improve the siege number there. Flip over, and we've got a Firenze. My plan was to move. I'm laden. I could dump a bunch of this food and get a 2-space movement. Is that wise? I have 4, 8, 9, 10 carts. If I was here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I could only grab 4 food from there. Good. That doesn't really work. If I move here, it's not my plan either. the trash truck. I didn't put mine out. I have almost nothing. I don't understand. I pay like, 35 bucks every 3 months or whatever. That looks like a big can, but they put something to cut it in half underneath, some weight or whatever, because I had that whole thing when my wife and I were using it together, and I never filled it, or almost never. And now, there's almost nothing in it. I don't know why. I don't know why. I don't feel like I buy that much less stuff than the two of us did. Okay, so if I move there, this is what my plan was. I have to use up 6 food total. 3 off of here. This one's fed. 5, I guess I'll take off Guido, because we're a little worried that Guido might actually be used for feeding again. We go here, it's another Astenberg. I still have another Provender, so I'll go for a Siege again. But that's going to fuck things up. I succeed this time. We'll do the Revolts, grab a Treachery, etc. Poggio Bonizio, after flipping through the rulebook a bit. Not remembering cards at all. Fucking idiot. Okay. Whatever. It just is what it is. I can't take this because that's adjacent, but this is not. So there goes another Ghibelline victory point in play. And the Guelphs get a consolation prize. No reason to move this, which means, what do I want to move? I either want to move Luca, who I'm going to have to pay, or Guido, who I'm going to have to pay. I have more money with Guido, so I think I'll move Luca forward. Those are going to go off the board. And I also get a Treachery. I'll take an Astenberg since I own him. Got to pay Astenberg here. His second. But I think I forgot completely to pay this, didn't I? No, maybe not. Does that make sense? I have 6, 7, and I'm needing 6. It sounds like I probably spent my food. I remember doing so. Okay, so Guido is going to supply again. He's pulling back from here. That's 1, 2, 3. I have 4, 8, 10. So I can pull 3 Provender in with that. We'll call that 4 and 1. Just to be completely OCD. That's 1. I can do that again. I can grab 3 more. Hope I did it right last time. I think I did. I think I grabbed 8. Come over here. What do I got? I got Giordano. What comes after him? Sienna? I gotta look at my list. 2 Siennas. It's gonna be hard to get Astenberg into play where I want him. Okay, so Giordano has to grab his food. Giordano has 3, 5, 9 carts. I think I can get back to here off that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, so I can get 1 off that and 4 from here. So I can grab 15 food. And that's less than my total. And I'm just going to do that. I could have taxed instead. But that would be instead of getting any of the food. And I really do need the food. I always forget about taxing. Firenze. Firenze gets to move once more. That gets me into Luca range. How's my food? I probably have way too much. 12, 13 for 10 carts. Yeah, I'm overladen again. How many Lucas? I have 2 Lucas in a row. I have enough food on Luca. He could come down 1. He can carry all this food too. 2. And then he could move to here. Or 2 Lucas and a Firenze. I'm not going to take Poggio. I think I do what I planned. Just move Leyden here, and then I feed again. 2 off these. 1 here, and then 3 more off these. And that gets me. That fits the plan I had. I'm not so sure how much I like the plan I had anymore. But I'll have more carts at least. I don't know. And we're on Siena. And I don't know what to do with Siena anymore. Do I want to march up and engage in battle? Or do I want to try to take this? I have Siena, Astonburg. Alright, I'm going to look at my cards. Anything that helps. I have the surprise card, but that doesn't work when I have these other cylinders with me. I've got too big an army. So, I can move 1. Am I Leyden? 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I am Leyden. So my entire move is to get me here. I get a siege marker there. I'm going to do this because I need to bring Gjord down. Astonburg into play. And I feed. And my feeding is -2, -3. For that. Okay. Come back over here. And we're at a Lucca. Lucca joins this army, thereby getting his carts and provender into play. That's important because my second Lucca is to gather more supplies. Another Siena. How's my supply situation? I'm at 2, 3, 4. I can feed everyone. Ah, fuck! I forgot to do the... He's got the damn summertime card again. He could have done it with that move. Can't remember. That's my George Herbert Walker Bush. It's probably not as good as my Joe Biden. Okay. And what am I looking at? I'm looking to see if Siena... And you know, this would actually be easier if I didn't have... if I wasn't running the camera. But I feel like every little step, this is so interactive and everything, the camera has to be on most of the time. I know, I tried backing away. I failed. So, I'm going to siege. That's 2 dice looking for a 1. Not great. We get another siege, we eat some food. What do we eat? We're -2. -3. We go to that. My chance of taking it is not good. Which sucks, because then I won't get to muster. All my people will be there. I'll have Pisa at least. Maybe. We get another Lucca. How are we doing food-wise? We have 7, 11 for 6, 10, 14, 15 carts. So we can carry all the food. How much food do we need? 2, 5, 6, 7. But this is a Lucca. Lucca has to gather food. He can't do anything else. So his food, what did I say? I had 11 carts. 4, 8, 9. No, I have more than that. 5, 9, 13, 15 carts. They cost me 1, 2 each. 15 divided by 2 is 7, is 14 when I double it. There's 12. Well, that's all I can have. There we go. War engineers aren't going to help me. Come back over here. It's Astenberg's turn. Astenberg has no food on him. He can move to join the siege. He could ravage. That would put a purple marker down. There's already a purple marker down. So it doesn't really hurt me. Do I want to hit him? No, I don't want to hit him with the card. That's a half victory point here. That goes to the Guelphs, even though it's the giblets doing what they're doing. But I add one. Oh, it costs me 2 actions if it's a town or city. Never mind. I can't do that. That's something I'm not used to. That was not the case in Almoravid. Astenberg has 2 actions. Sure. Because I wasn't traveling laden. So yes, I do play this. And I get a provender and a loot. I don't have any specials. So I'll just grab my stuff. I don't have to eat the loot if there's provender on someone else, I believe. Now I have to feed. No problem. I'm the only guy who moved. The rest of the forces did not. And we go here. It's a fit ends. I hope I'm overloaded because otherwise I'm going to be wasting an action, I think. Well, I can do a supply. I have 16, 23, and I had like 15. So yes, I'm overladen. This is where I want to go. And I have to feed. And my feed now is 1 from here. He's the one who's going to be my supplier, so I have to take food from him. 2 from him. Has to come off him. I owe 3. 4 more. Take that off Luca because that's where I'm going to be drawing my supply from next time. I'm in a position where the Guelphs are able to muster next turn. The giblets, maybe not. 2 dice. Looking for a 3 because this is now ravaging. Or ravaged. And that's really why I did it. Looking for all 3s or less. Yeah, that doesn't work. I do get another siege. It's not going to stay. It's going to go away very shortly. And now I have to feed. I hope I have food. What do I got? I owe 1. I owe 2. I owe 2. I owe 3, 4. There goes my food. Not a great situation for me. We're at the end. Is it the last 60 days of spring or autumn? No, it's summer. There's no ransom. Game end. 1 to 3. It's on the board. Now I can start moving to the left. Repair. Siege. And now waste. Governor where I could, took carts where I couldn't. You don't want to waste coins. Coins are too valuable. Coins are like you failed to feed completely. So, you know, they count as an entire feeding as far as I'm concerned. Pisa lost their last ship. I didn't have enough to move my force. Yeah, it's got some value for supplies. There's no question about that. So I might have been better off getting rid of carts, but I need the carts to trace from Pisa. And I've got plenty of supplies in Pisa itself and in its next door neighbor. So the boats aren't really that important to me as I see it. Everyone else lost carts except for Giordano, who was the only one who had Provender left. And cards I want to get rid of. This is a real question. Greek Fire is really nice to throw on the deck. However, my militia could be very valuable. I'll leave that where it is. There might be two of these, and they might have different events on them. I want to keep the rest of this. Am I doing it in the wrong order? Yes. Luca. Is this important? The war engineers aren't really going to help me. The event might. It gives me faster movement. And definitely want to keep this. I don't know if there's anything in there. Fuck the hold cards. Every other game, well, in the Almoravid game I played, and in the prior time I played this, it felt like I had a handle on the hold cards, although I was only a couple of turns in. But here, they're just fucking growing. I had to hold all my cards. Move to the next levy. Gonna play another turn before I load this one up. Not right away. I got other things to do, like probably curl up and read for a while and fall asleep. But yeah, the Ghibellines have managed to get themselves into another siege situation. They're not going to be able to muster for the most part, whereas the Guelphs have full mustering capability. How big a deal is that? Well, the Ghibellines only have this guy down there that they can muster. Now, they could muster troops as well, but I'm kind of happy with my troops. I would have liked to have mustered a couple extra, one of those guys for Siena, because that keeps me under the six units, so I only feed once, but gives me a little bit more padding in case I get stuck in a battle. With only 3 units, I could lose all those units. I could put myself in the reserve. I could lose all those units, and then I could end up in a situation where, like, it's horrible, right? Where every one of them fails, and he's wiped out. Of course, it's not as big a deal to wipe someone out because he's a Podesta, so he doesn't get wiped out for real. And over here, what was I babbling about? Yeah. Over here, I'm going to have capabilities. I have a couple of different people. Now, Cole can't come in. That's why I'm heading this way. But Arezzo could, but he's not very valuable over here, except maybe in conjunction with that. So I don't know that I'm going to be bringing in really heavy additional forces here either. I do have the Firenze additional lords. Probably want to bring one of them in for the same reason Siena wants to bring one of them in. All right, here we are, a little after midnight. Probably quite a bit, like 40 minutes or so. Thursday morning. And we're ready to start a levy phase. I'll probably take a nap after this. Foreign help. Shift Guido or Orvieto service 2 boxes, or, if desired, set aside 1 treachery from Guelph deck to shift their cylinders left to the current. Okay. So it's their service, their markers can go 2 boxes if they're there. You can increase how long they'll be there. Or set aside 1 treachery from Guelph deck. Sounds pretty good. To shift their cylinders, both of them, left to the current levy. Okay. So who are these? Orvieto and Guido. I have Guido on the board. Orvieto is over here. I haven't chosen to pull him in. He's already available, so the latter option isn't available, so I have to shift their service boxes. If desired, I guess means I could do nothing. So we're looking for Guido. Guido's over here. 2 boxes. That's pretty good. And he has a nice, healthy sized force. So it's actually very good. And then our other one is Roadworks. This campaign, Guelph Lords treat track as road and move laden as if unladen. I'll keep that there. We'll get over to this side. War loans. I'm checking the count here. 1, 2, 3, 4. The Guelphs would be able to reset the call to arms. Of course, that's not going to impact much of anything. So, Shift Provenzana, Siena, Giordano, or Astemberg. Cylinder. Or service, 2 boxes, or this levy, give 1 lordship plus 2. 1, I guess, is one of that sequence because we have their little symbols here listed. Okay. Provenzano is not on the board. Is he available? He's not available yet, and I may want to bring him in. He's actually really useful. Because it could be the cylinder. Siena is our main. He's available and not at much risk. Giordano is wavy guy. The game could be over by then. Unlikely, right? That's 2 ahead. This would go 2 back. No, it's not going to happen. But anyway. Or Astemberg. Astemberg is unfortunately sitting right here. So I could pay $1 and keep Astemberg on the board. I could give somebody a bigger levy power. I'm not going to be able to levy, so that doesn't sound very valuable. And alternatively, I could shift Provenzano closer, but again, I don't have the capability to levy him. Well, no, Pisa still exists. So I would have the possibility of bringing him into play. I'm going to move Provenzano 2 forward. See, this is the thing. I can pay to keep him in the game. I can't do anything to bring Provenzano closer except this card, right? There's nothing that's going to do that. Whereas I do have coinage available sitting on Astemberg, Siena, etc. I'll bring this closer. Because Pisa can bring him in. And he's actually useful to me. He's near my main force. And Gentle Usilia. Hold play for the Guelphs only to conduct an immediate ransom. So what happened, the story behind this, I actually remember this one is this woman came out and started paying the ransoms right after a battle. However, conducting an immediate ransom sounds like I would have to pay coin to recover the knights. Languish is under ransom, so if they don't do it, I think it screws them over. So this sounds completely opposite to what happened, which seems like a donation by someone who, maybe they would have helped with a ransom anyway, and so that money's getting tanked away. But this actually seems like an evil card when I expected her to be helpful to the side that she helped instead. Notice something, if you're not familiar with the period. There's no exchange of prisoners, right? It's not like, we'll give you some for yours. No, the families involved were responsible for raising the cash to ransom off the captives. And given that a single battle could actually create captives on both sides, which I have my disputes about. I'm not saying that didn't ever happen. I'm saying that it's really unlikely that enough knights would be captured by the losing side to have any influence, and it's just astounding to me and feels absolutely wrong. But it is what the rules support. Okay, do we have to pay anyone? Yeah, we have to pay Astenberg. I'll use his own money. I believe the sharing rules on this would allow me to use others' money. Unlike the feed sharing, where you have to use your own food, I believe this would have allowed that. That's the only one I have to do, and am I sitting on any loot? Oh shit, Astenberg's got a loot. He can't use it. He can't use it. Okay. Yeah, I'm in the midst of a siege. Well, that just sucks my ass. All right. There's not going to be any disbands because we got it there, and that means it's levy time. The Guelphs are all available to levy. It's kind of the first time I've come across this many cards that I was considering playing, and I just wanted to show, now I have to really consider what I want to do. In addition to the complexity of deciding amongst these that are all interesting to me, I also have the options to muster 2 of the 3 remaining lords, not Cole because he's away, which are down here, which could be an interesting opportunity as well, because we could focus on sieging this. This is so important to me, though, that I want that to be my main focus. So we'll figure out what's going to happen. I think I'm less interested in battle cards because the Ghibellines are, pursuing their own siege. We'll do quite a bit. Using those as zeros. Going to use Guido as my main siege lord so that he'll be placing 2 markers per. Firenze is going to move us in there. He'll put the first one in. Luca is going to be in charge of supplies. This is what's great about having a commander on the field. When you have a lieutenant on the field, he's the only one doing any commands. He just has more force behind him. Over to here, all we have is Pisa. Pisa probably wants to go for Provenzano, because I don't know what to do with Pisa. So that's a 5. We get him with a success. I'll bring him on a little later. And then, what else does Pisa want? What would Pisa do? What would Pisa's do? Oh, I brought additional troops in play as well, but trying to keep my feed markers exactly where they are, because and I brought the army reserve and the fettuccine in order to, just be more prepared. Let's say I'm caught here and I don't win the siege. At least I've gotten some military capability where I think I can beat the Ghibellines in combat. I've got fistfuls of combat cards, all kind of stuff like that. So the other thing for Pisa, I think a cart is probably about as good as one can do when you don't know what you want. I'm probably not moving Pisa at all. It doesn't matter where they are. They just have to be down there. But I don't want to create more troops or anything like that. That would just get in my way. The Guelphs could call to arms. They don't see any advantage to doing so. And that flips us to the campaign side. And I don't know if I'll be back anytime in the really near future, but I'll let Red play with itself for a while. I'm getting pretty close to the end of a goal, so I think I'm going to just miss it at the end. When I go upstairs, I'm going to be just short of it, which I have enough time that I can just wait and let time generate resources for me. But yeah, and here I have not set Provenzano up. That's what's wrong. Nothing too exciting there, but I wanted to show you that, yeah, now I've done it. 7 7 cards for the Guelphs. I open up with Firenze to move in. Guido to try to prosecute the siege. At this point, and Firenze is going to do a supply before he moves in, right? I'll be laden, or I'll have points where I could be laden, but I'm traveling over a good road. Then my plan is Luca for supply, Guido for more siege. You don't know. I could capture it, here, right? Luca for supply. Then I'm going to do a Luca treachery, which might get me Colle's other town, conceivably. Right? And then Firenze. Now I can use that for supply. What I don't want to do is move into here if I don't take it. But at least I don't think I want to, right? But it also gives me a flexibility to move my force if I need to react. Like let's say the Ghibellines are up here threatening Firenze or something. I can do a shift over. And it really, Firenze is the most capable. This isn't going to really matter, probably. Onward. You might notice that before I go and do the Ghibellines, and I know somebody's kind of held me to task for even just thinking in this sort of way, that I'm very low conflict. I don't storm the cities for the most part here. In Almoravid, I tended to, because I want things to move more quickly at times. But with the difference in victory points, I should actually be considering it with the Guelphs. Because as long as they're far enough behind, they can do another call to arms and clear these out, take the damage on these, clear them out, and bring them back, and start over again with another path. But I want to clear this path before that happens. In kind of a weird situation, because I have Provenzano here. I'd like to have him join my forces. But I think I want the siege to be completed first. Having a pipe in my mouth is not working. There's too much liquid in it. So Astenberg, grab supply. Giordano, do a siege action, because I don't want to waste Siena moves, but I ended up only using 2 of them anyway, but whatever. Astenberg supply. Siena, presumably I've won by this point. It's time to move. I could get to here maybe, or to here, depending on what's going on, or here, but I'd rather be on the main highway. Astenberg, more supplies. Siena, get me up to here, and a treachery against probably their leaders to try to steal away troops. I mean, I'm assuming they go here, right? It looks pretty obvious to me. All right, let me light my pipe and kick this off. He's moved in, laid down his first siege marker, and 8 supplies. Astenberg gathers supplies. Now, he has a 3 command rating, but the number of carts, the closeness to my location and everything, I'm able to get everything I need with 2 of my commands, which means there's really not much else I can do with my 3rd command. Storm, I thought, takes the whole card. No. Interesting. I don't want to storm, though, do I? I don't think so. I don't want to lose my army. So, yeah. And that flips us over to the first siege card. I'm sorry. I fucked up. I forgot to grab supplies for him, which was part of my plan. Let's see. He had 2, 5, 9, 15 carts. So he would have been getting 1, 2, 3, and 4. 3 4s is 12, so I would have 4 more provender here. And I'll just leave that as it is. All right, that puts me in a position where I play Guido. Guido's intention is to siege and not supply. Luca's going to be my supply person. Also, Guido has this, which is helpful. Now, Firenze moving in couldn't have ravaged because your card ends when you move in and start a siege. But you could do a bypass, then ravage, then spend a point to start the siege, but that option doesn't exist when you only have 2 commands. Okay, so Guido at 1. And I should be rolling 2 dice, but he didn't succeed. And that means I have to feed again, which is at this, owes 3. I'll take my 3 off Luca, I guess. Luca is there. Doesn't really matter much. And then we come here, and we get Giordano, who is also going to siege. We'll use 2 dice. I don't know. I gotta check cards, man. What the hell? Camera definitely gets in the way there. Yeah, because sorting through, if I've got 1 or 2 cards, I can check them. Once I get a pile of cards, I kind of need my hands. Okay, so we're at siege 3 because of the ravage marker. Doesn't quite do it. We didn't put the 2 siege markers down for him. And he gets only 1 and has to feed, and let's look at what we do. Pisa's not involved. Astenberg has tons. Siena, I'm back 2. I'm back 3. Gotta eat 3 of these. And that'll do that. I want to be able to check those cards, see if there's anything that helps. So I'll be flipping this over. This is a Luca card. What is Luca's plan? Luca probably needs to supply. I screwed things up here in my planning. I've got another Astenberg here. That's going to be a siege roll. I didn't check the cards. That's okay. Got to do what you got to do. The reason is I've got just too much supply on Astenberg. Very easy to fuck things up. Very easy. Total is 4, so yeah, 6 isn't gonna ever succeed. And then I eat, and I'll try to get rid of what I can off Astenberg, but I think I was doing that. Error I made. I had Provenzano feed. He shouldn't have. He's fine now. I fixed him. Our next card over here will be a Guido. Guido has no food on him. Luca's in charge of supply. I think Guido's in charge of sieges, which means I do check. Interesting cards, no luck. I do have an interesting card. I don't remember where it is. This Constituo, play to shift Siena or Pisa cylinder, or service 2 calendar boxes, or give one of them lordship +1. I probably want to play that at some point, but I'll hold. But that I probably got that one this time. That gets me a Siena. How is my situation? It's my situation. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have an Astenberg after that. Astenberg's really good at feeding. So I think we're rolling for siege here, and there should be a thing there. So those are at 5 now. It falls over. And another domino fell over here in Chiusi, which we took a couple of markers on Siena, Luca. Moving Luca, which is close. I'm not going to move Luca that many. I'm going to only move Luca 1, because I want to move Firenze with all that stuff as well. And just make everything be further from being a problem. how is our food situation? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I got a Luca treachery. I think this is in my territory, so pillaging it would create a yellow marker. There somehow don't appear to be any on the board, which I think is a lie, but there's one. Okay. So yeah, do I want to get the siege out of the way now? If I don't get, so if I get the siege out of the way now, I'm going to eat my food, then Firenze is going to have to supply. Right now that's available for treachery. How much supply will Luca bring in? 1, 2, it's going to be the same as last time, whatever that was. 3, 4, 5, 9, 15. I think I can pull in 8. I don't have room for 8, but I'm damn close. So I think I will double supply instead. I think. That brings me over here. He's got an Astonberg. Astonberg is generally used for supply. Did I feed? I don't think I fed last time. I captured the city and I forgot to feed. So that's 2, 3. That would put me to here. Astonberg can't move me, so his job is really to collect up however much food he can. There's not much else I can do in this location. Collect 6, and I think I've been fucking up and like counting Pisa's wagons in or Provenzano's wagons in because I had too much. Like, I think I collected more food on my first gather, but I'm not sure. All right, we got a Luca treachery. So this is, as always, something I have to look up. There is a treachery table. Should we see? It probably doesn't tell me everything I need to know. This is my danger there. Treachery options when cards. I will be trying to create a revolt. I can commit up to 4 coin. I roll dice equal to stronghold. Yeah, I understand that. Okay. I'm going to go for this. And I am going to spend just 1 coin. I'll spend 2 coin. I think it's worth $2. I only pay if I win. So nothing goes away. This is used. Then we get here. He gets a Sienna. No. What did I do? I did my feed, yeah. He gets a Sienna, which means I get to move. Sienna has 2 movement. How am I in? So I have 10. I have loot with me. So we'll move everybody up to here. That's all they go. They get a move feed. And back 2, back 3, back 4. Don't have to pay for him, but he's with me now. Last Guelph card is a Firenze. I'm planning on sieging. I have food with Luca. I don't know if this is right. It's at 4. Like I have the feeling that I didn't add 1. But that's not going to succeed no matter what, so it doesn't make much difference. And then I have to feed with these guys. And the Guelphs are not doing well. Here I'm at 2. What the hell? Why don't I have any fucking food? Didn't I feed with Luca? Ah, there. Yeah, I did. I'm getting him confused with Pisa because they're both on that side of the map. So I have 2, 3, 4, 5. That goes there. We didn't get anything. The final draw was an Astonberg Treachery. I am not next to anything that I can affect, so I am screwed. I was counting on being further up, maybe. It's okay. It just means, I wasted an action, which, sucks, but whatever. That's going to put me at the end of the turn. This action also got wasted, or attempted. We're in last 60 days of autumn, because there's only 60 days in autumn. So ravage markers are reduced to 1/2 rounded up, and that's where the problem is. There is a yellow one. Okay, so what do I want to get rid of here? Get rid of this one. Falls all the way back there. Is that right? 2.5. Yeah. He's not doing well, and the yellow won't go away. Ransom, there are no knights. Does the game get shorter? It does not. Repair, this goes away. And then wastage. That I'm going to play this because I would like to either draw it again. This I'll have another chance. No, not if I play it. So if I play it now, I'm going to shift Pisa because he looks more important to my condition. And I'm going to have to spend on other people. Oh, shit. I carried loot with me. Where is my loot? I had a loot here with Astonberg. That's actually what slowed me down. Fuck. So, here's the thing. If when I captured the town, now I own it, I could have paid someone off with that loot. And I would have paid off Astonberg with it, right? Let's just catch all this up. Astonberg has somebody on the board. Where is he? Here. So we're going to pay off Astonberg with this. I can't pay off Pisa. He's not in the same location. That means I could have moved here as well. Now, Provenzano would have had to have eaten if I do that. But that means I could take a shot at this. And I have a fair amount of coinage. I am going to go for... Oh, no, that's already mine. Okay. Well, I'll do the rest of the stuff. But anyway, I'm on wastage. I wanted to play that card, and then I started realizing, wait a minute, I've got a loot there that I should have recovered, that I should have also shifted stuff with. That loot slowed me down, and there was no reason to let it do so. The Guelphs, I threw out the Gustatori, and I think, yeah, I would have had to lose a cart otherwise, and I had to lose a couple of carts anyway, so that's not great. And I'm not seeing that I'm going to be doing another siege. The two forces are too close. We think we're going to be getting into a field battle, so that's of interest to me. I was willing to lose a cart and keep this, because otherwise I'd be... Actually, I'm not going to get any kind of... I'm not going to get any levy actions. So you can see it's like Siena was stuck without levy actions last time in the middle of a siege. Now we are. If you get lucky with the siege, it's great. But if you don't, you can kind of fall behind and not be in as good a position. Siena is going to be able to come up and try to relieve this siege if we don't get it on the first action. And we're kind of low on food. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We've got enough that we could take it, but yeah. We didn't have a lot of provender spread around throughout stuff. I threw a card here. Not looking like I'm going to be doing any siege with Pisa in the near future. So rather than get rid of provender or whatever, I'm like, yeah, let's get that card. Swamp could be useful too. Army reserve I want to keep. Cards in hand I don't fucking know how to cope with. But I had to lose some carts, and you can see my haulage capability is really getting kind of low. Luckily for me, I'm in the center of my area, and I'm going to get a levy. The Guelphs aren't getting one. Yeah, I discarded everything I wanted, and this goes over to the next levy. I'm in a weird sort of degenerate state where playing has been very difficult today. Now, a lot of the time I've been doing raid, but I came down here at least once before. Well, I came down here once before, looked at it about an hour ago, and I was just like, I just can't, and I went and read. But let's start the levy phase, I guess. Montalcino. If a town marked Guelph, Firenze, Arezzo, and Orvieto cylinders are service 1 each, Guelphs can declare a call to arms. Yeah, I don't know if we need to. We're already set up, but anyway. Is there a town marked Guelph? Yes, over here. Town, not city, so Siena wouldn't do. Pisa wouldn't do. Firenze, Arezzo, and Orvieto. Firenze is my main. Now I have an or? No. No. Okay. So there goes Firenze. Arezzo is, I believe, this one. No real effect, but some things could shift the other direction conceivably. And Orvieto is this butthead over here. Okay. So no big help there. But we do have a call to arms if we want to use it, and he knows about it. Betrayals. For each stronghold with any Guelph siege markers, roll on revolt table or add 1 treachery. The revolt table could do us some good here, and here, and here. Taking a treachery, probably not. I've got plenty. So let's... And I'm guessing this is going to be a revolt against Ghibellines, because I would not choose to do a revolt against myself. And we get one of them. And I don't know what one of them means. I think it means I get this. Because I think I have to be adjacent. But I don't recall. And this, every time it comes up, I don't remember. Is it on the back? Maybe. If an ex-revolted eligible stronghold marked with enemy allegiance at or adjacent to a friendly lord. Sounds good. Yeah. So these two I'm adjacent to. I could choose either of them, but this one's not eligible because it's adjacent to these. So this is going to convert over. This doesn't cause any domino effects, any additional revolts or anything, because I didn't just win the siege. You probably remember better than I do because you've been watching this, unless you happen to pause for as long as I did. But yeah, it doesn't matter that I have a call to arms here. I've got one. I'm so far apart. Somewhere here. Ghibelline refugees. Play of Provenzano or Santa Fiora on the map to shift the other cylinder 2 boxes, or give each lordship +2, or add 1 of their treachery. Okay, Provenzana is on the map. Santa Fiora is not. he is that remaining yellow guy up there. So I don't really want to shift him. I'm going to add to this because giving each of them Lordship +2 could be really valuable if I bring him in. Now he comes in down here. He's kind of the weakest of all, but maybe I want to do a lot of mustering and Provenzano will help me. Both sides are going to be able to muster this time. We thought they weren't, but that event card changed things. And Roadworks, Ghibelline Lord Street Track as road and Move Laden as unladen, which is going to be helpful. So I can now bring Cole in, and I can bring the other two in, but that's kind of iffy, except there's not much back here. So it might be intriguing to bring one or both of them in case things come to a fight over here. We may be able to do something on the next turn. And we may be able to do something of some value this turn. But for the most part, when you raise up forces, unless you can get them, included in something useful, they're not going to be very helpful to you. Unless you can get them included in the commander's force, basically. Or with a lieutenant, they're not going to be very helpful to you because they're not going to have any of the siege advantages that you want, and they're not going to have the troops that you want. They're not able to do a muster. Big deal that I get to muster, but I'm still kind of blocked by this fortress here. And I'm not sure what that all means. I know one thing it means. I'm going to want Cole. However, I picked out some cards that I might want. Some of them could go here. They could be picked by anybody. That's these two. I'm able to hold 4 right now, 5 if I get Cole right. The Balistreri would be useful here because he has a lot of armigeri. And the Archieri would be useful up here because he has a fair number of militia. So that's kind of where I'm looking, but I also may be short on supply capability. So I have 6, 10, 12, 13, 14 cards. That sounds like a goodly amount. And I'm right here with Cole. If he shows up, he'll be able to supply for 4. What did I say? 14. Luca, 1, 2. He would be able to pull, each 4 would take 8. So I would be able to pull like 6 supply. But Luca is already relatively full on supply. He could do it once. So I think I'm okay supply-wise. Why did I care about that? I don't remember. Oh, carts. Okay. So let's make a roll for Cole. I don't know who's going to spend this. Let's look at my cards. I got to figure out what I'm doing as well for the turn before I make any decisions. Because this is winter. It's only four cards. 4 commands. Which, maybe I can take this and force a battle here. Or maybe I stay where I am or move up towards Poggio Bonizio where I have an advantage card and try to do stuff over here with the Arezzo and Orvieto, especially on this short turn where I'm going to get a good turnaround. I've got a lot of points to make up to win the game. That's the problem. Or I don't know what else. Okay. Who's going to spend? I'm going to use one from Firenze for this. I'm going to use one from Guido for this. Luca doesn't look all that important. He's got a lot of cards. He's got a lot of stuff. So I'm going to spend one of him on Cole. That doesn't work. I'm going to spend the other one from him on Cole because I don't see any troops or anything I can gather. This time I get it. I'll put a marker here so I don't spend, and Cole shows up. Unable to muster. Now I have to figure out what I want to do. Is a Podesta. He costs double. So I had to take another 2. There goes Fidenz. That changes things quite a bit. Now I don't have enough to do everything I want to do. So I'll put another one here for the Balistrari. I'll put one here. That gives me just one more card, or one more chance at doing something. Which is more valuable, Arezzo or Orvieto? I think I'm going to go for one of them. Orvieto is easier to bring in. Arezzo is a Podesta. I don't know how much that matters. Orvieto has more commands. If he's on his own, Orvieto is interesting. Arezzo, I don't know. See, Arezzo can take a little castle here, and then the two could combine together to take this town, presumably. My chance of getting Orvieto is higher. I'm going to go for Arezzo, though, actually because of that. Because if I get lucky taking Arezzo, I end up with a better chance of getting Orvieto. And I think everything works better that way. I do not get him. That uses up all my commands, and I have not fully set Cole up yet. I put his counter on the board, but this shows up there, and this will be there. We did not take these. All right. Now we're over here. And this is part of why I don't want to. It's getting big enough that it's kind of painful. And I don't know. I guess I knew it was going to be painful. Once again, hey, let's figure out what we want to do. Well, battle is risky. And we already know that Florence's commune is a mighty military capability. We may not want to fight. I'm not sure what that means we're going to leave ourselves with, but we're way ahead on victory points here. We don't have to win some kind of automatic victory wiping out the enemy or whatever. We could just try to play out the turn. It's 50-50 each turn whether this goes forward. There's one, two, three, 3 more of these opportunities, maybe 4, but the 4th one it's going to end no matter what. Which means I might actually get 2 of these, and that might cut the game much, much shorter. So what could I do to generate victory points at this point? It might be that I focus on Pisa to try to grab some stuff and cause some damage up there in the back areas. Especially if I could, like, you know, get Lucca out of the way. And keep these guys as kind of a reactive force. I do have to look at their carts and whatnot. I may have to build up their military capability. Now I notice the roadworks with the war engineers means that I can't do that anyway. So, gotta think again. Because I do know what the board state is. I know Arezzo and Orvieto are not on the board. And that means what? You know? That means I could launch an attack, or I could maybe push forward somewhere. The main thing I want to do is not lose more territory, right? I don't want to lose this, Cole itself, but I'm going to have to keep some sort of reactive capability. But in a winter time, the siege is unlikely to have enough time to succeed. Again, only 4 cards. He probably needs to do a supply, a move, maybe another supply, and then an attack. And then I'll be able to launch my attack next turn when he's a little off balance. I don't know. Oh, here's what I'm going to do. I'm taking La Cavallata here. Cavallata. I don't know if the double L is like in Spanish. You'd think I would know Italian, but no. Very little. Very, very little. All of it curses. This is going to allow me to do ravaging. Maybe at here, you know. But I could move here and do ravages to Lucca, whatever. That might generate me some victory points. So it becomes something that's appealing. These troops here, these improve my Armigeri significantly. I seem to have my other cards that are military are eaten up by my whole deck as far as I can tell. I don't know. So this is kind of the best thing I can do, is make those Armigeri very powerful. Other than that, I'm having a really hard time figuring out anything I want to do. I'm a little short on carts, that much I know. So let's see. I've got 2 here. Let's get him a cart over with Siena. I used one of these. So I used 2 of these and 1 extra. I used 1 of these. I might as well grab another cart here. Although a ship might be interesting. I got enough carts. Let's start rebuilding my boats. Yeah, I was wiping them out. But now, adjacent, I don't know if I can use boats. I doubt I can use boats for this. Okay. Astenburg, decent amount of carts, decent amount of pieces. I could muster troops. And a cart. Siena also mustered some troops with his extra point. I notice I screwed up here, and this has had an effect. I got 7 here. I thought I only had 6. I don't know, maybe this blurred in or whatever. Which means I might as well muster some troops, and I'll get an extra cart. We'll ignore the fact that I fucked up. Don't know which troop to pick. I'll pull these both off so that I know. Here, I could actually muster. So I don't want to muster 2 troops, so I'll muster an extra cart. And here, I could muster all 3 troops. So I've got 3. 6 would bring me to nothing. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 would bring me to times 2 feed. That seems like a pretty good deal. Provenzano gets a good force. Now, what's kind of weird here is I'm mustering based on, how much I can feed. Okay, that makes sense, but how much I can feed in the mustering, it's all this weird kind of balance, and it doesn't really work in my view. It's like, I just don't know. I just don't know. So all of these are going to be mustered. I get to choose one of these to muster, one to not. This is clearly the better guy to muster, and he lasts longer. Some significant screwing around. I guess we're on the campaign there. And I really kind of don't want to play anymore. It's like, yeah, the game is not decided. There's still going to be one more major battle, isn't there? But I'm not feeling it. I don't know why. Maybe I've played too many of these in too short a succession. Because, I played Almoravid twice, and I've played this twice. Yes, the first game in each was rather short. But and the mechanisms and the way that you have to think in this game, like I said, you might get used to them and they become easier, but it's hard for me to get used to them because the tax on my brain and on, the amount of pre-planning and everything. Pre-planning is just not something I enjoy doing much. And I can get kind of excited about it for a while, but eventually it tires me. Like, initially it frustrates. Maybe for a short window of time, I kind of enjoy it. And then I'm just like, yeah, I don't want to do this shit. And that I think is what I'm facing right now. I don't think there's going to be a call to arms. We've both planned for what's going to happen there. I threw that out. It doesn't matter. And so that'll bring me to the planning. And yeah, today's Friday, so I don't know. There's plenty of time. I've been getting up at like now 8 p.m. today. Great. Back down, looking at the planning stage for the Guelphs. I'm a little confused. I thought I was going to have some kind of force over here that was going to be able to do something. I don't have any. And I do remember the Ghibellines thinking, hey, there's no real problem. He's got to do this or nothing. Given how far behind I am, I can't do nothing, right? And maybe I thought I could, but because it's winter and there isn't a lot of time. But I kind of feel like I have to do something. But I'm very far behind. I'd like a battle. I don't have any cards that help me with storming a location. And yeah, great. All my nice work separating everyone out. I don't have a lot of resources either. I don't have a lot of provender sitting near me, and I don't have a lot of sources of it that are close to me. Luca has sources. He could supply once, but then we get kind of tricky. And we look at a town. That's a fair amount of force. If I moved in and wanted to storm that town, that would be difficult, to say the least. Jeez. I don't know what to do. I feel like I have to act. I have a couple of paths to action. One would be treachery. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 coins. I have plenty of treachery cards. Rolling 2 dice at a 4 or a 5 isn't that bad. I could even do it more than once, depending. I could, if I'm not successful. That may be my best way to get anything. I can't do it though. They're not eligible, right? Yeah, I can't treachery them because there's enemy forces nearby. Okay, so get that out of the way. The other option, collect supplies, move in. Don't have time to tax with Cole, which is something I'd like to do. Who's going to launch the sieges? Well, Ferenz, if he moves in, he could do 1 supply draw first. Pulling back. That would help. I don't have anybody who's going to slap down two markers if they siege. So, and I want Ferenz to go last in case I storm. So it kind of doesn't matter who I go with for this next one. How much food am I going to need? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I have 8 right now. The Luca feeding gets me 8. Ferenza's move eats 8. The next thing will eat 8. The next thing will also eat 8. And that's eat 8. Go gone. Which means I'm going to be 1 fucking piece short from what I want to be. So yeah, I'm doing feed, I'm doing supply. Oh, this is not 8, is it? How many carts do I have? 6, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. And 1, 2. 15 divided by 2 is 7. So I only get 7 each time. But I'm not using all my resources there. Which means, fuck. What if I have 3 instead of 2? What if I move in first, then supply? Because Firenze is going to get a supply, but it's not that heavy. It's 15 coming from here. 1, 2, 3, 4. It means I'm going to get 3 supply for that one time. Luca, if he's looking at 1, 2, 3. That means he only gets 5 supply each time. But if I'm pulling 10 there, that's better than the 7, which I get here. So this goes like this. I put another Luca. Don't I? I put another Luca because I'm only going to have 1 siege marker there. This gets me to 2. And then I put a Firenze as needed because that gives me flexibility, although I don't know. I might want just a colle for the food. That's the best I can come up with. I don't think it's good enough. I'm trying to figure out for the Ghibellines what to do here. So, and yeah, I could treachery this. No, I can't. That's mine. Fuck it. Never mind. I could treachery up here if I walk up there, but that's not going to happen. I could treachery over here or something along that line. I believe I probably have a Pisa treachery in this pile. Yeah, Astenberg's the only one I'm missing. Okay. Astenberg wants to go first because he is my best supplier. He is relatively close, 1, 2, and 1 to 2 different supply sources, and he has 3 commands. That makes him really appealing. My thought was Siena goes next in case they move in. But, you know, they move in, they siege once. That's not very good. So I'm going to put Pisa next. Then I'm going to put Siena. Then I'm going to put Pisa again. What am I doing with Pisa? Yeah, that's a good fucking question, to tell you the truth. Maybe I should be throwing the Pisa treachery in there instead. What I'm doing with Pisa, one of it was going to be a taxation, because why not? Uh-oh. Something went wrong here. This shouldn't be here on its own. Where is the rest of Pisa? Where's my Pisa? I can't find my Pisa. Oh, that's the main Pisa. Yeah, I had to pay Pisa, and I would have, to get him out there. So he's actually in kind of some trouble. So I'm going to do a taxation with one of his actions, and the other one I'm going to take this La Cavallata. Because I'm not that interested in high-risk maneuvers particularly. Low-risk ones, like doing a Ravage, are just about as good. The game might end before we hit a grow phase, conceivably. Unlikely. But anyway. That Siena in there in case something starts to happen, in case the Guelphs do move against this. I need to be able to react. Or if they move up this way, I need to be able to react. They only have 1 force, so I don't need to do too much. And we will start with Firenze, which was, I think I had 15. 6, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. 1, 2, 3, 4. That says I get 3 supply over here. Then I move, drop a siege. I don't have any cards that help me, I looked. And feed this mess, which was 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 is going to be, I owe 3. I owe 4, 5. That's going to bring it to 6. And now Luca is short on food, and I hope I have a Luca here as my next card. Yay, I'm smart. But it's not going to produce the kind of food that it produced back when I was at the last castle, or at the last town. That brings me here, and we're going to figure out Astenberg's food. Astenberg's not getting as much food as he would have liked. He's only getting 6. I was counting on being able to trace through here, but I'm not now, so I have to go this way, which is 1, 2, 3 instead of 2. Not great. Now we hit the Luca. Like, we expected them to do a supply before they moved, right? But we didn't really understand what their position was overall. Luca. Luca could increase siege, but that's not going to work well. I have 2 commands. I could ravage with one of them. That's my own territory, so it would be giving more points to the Ghibellines. However, unless Pisa is doing something silly like, using this card that I don't know they have, one of these goes away on the next grow, so it's not that big a deal. Okay, let's take a look at what we get with Luca. We're looking at 15, right? 1, 2, 3 for each. That means I can pull 5 with each pull. A Ravage, first of all, it's going to cost me 2 commands because it's a town, so screw it. So 4, 4, one of the remainder, the other of the remainder. That's Luca. Pisa. Pisa will tax because I'm short on money. I just want to do it. It's kind of the plan. Another Luca. This Luca is going to be a siege. I have no advantages here. I don't particularly want to assault the town. It's not a good payoff. But I'm worried because I'm rolling 2 dice for 1 now. That's almost nothing. If I do, if I do another siege, it's 2 dice at 2s. It's not working. It's not working. Who's the remaining guy? It's Firenze. All right, I think we try to storm the town. I think it's important that we take it. If we do take it, then we will still be low enough that we can do a call to arms. I'm not thrilled about this. I do not like storming towns, but this is a situation where I think it's called for. 50-50? How much food do I have? I'm looking at 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You know what? I have 16 food. I'm going to siege this, see what happens. I could get super lucky. I get super lucky. What's up with that, man? For that, we got 2 successful revolts. Both of them the same die roll, 5-3. Something weird's going on with the dice right now. The first one gave me Montepulciano, which is worth 2 points, swings over. The second one hit the same place, so now I have a choice between one of these 2 that I can flip. Which one is more valuable to me? With all of these held, there's some interest to going in this direction, but I don't know. I don't know. What do I do? This whole turn became so like unstable because of that successful siege. This feels like the safer choice. This is nice in terms of like, yeah, maybe I could create a pathway going up here, but I think this is worth more. This gives me a path directly anyway. Fuck it. All the better. All the better. So we will take a Asciano. And that is another victory point. And now the victory points are too close for a call to arms. So now I'm kind of worried about like fighting a battle. I no longer have the, yeah, I could lose. But that was if I storm the city. I'm pretty comfortable with fighting a battle. We won the last battle, didn't we? Which puts it on Siena. Siena takes a look. It's a Pisa for the next. Do we want to fight a battle, or do we want to just try to scrape by with just a few victory points in advantage? Our army's built, man. We got a fistful of cards. Yeah, they do too, but we don't know that. On we move. I didn't feed. That's a problem. We said 7, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Wait, I got an 8 this time. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. It kind of doesn't matter except that my calculations were bad. I'm at -3. I'm at -5. This sounds the same as... somebody lost a card. That's not possible. Let's try again. I'm at -3. I meant to take this. I'm at -4. I'm at -5, -6. Make it -7. We no longer have enough food to feed everyone. Could be a problem because Siena is indeed going to go in and attack. But before Siena attacks, they want a provender. And we do a quick check of carts here. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 12. All going to here. Is there another Siena? It's been taken. Is there another one? No. So we grabbed 4 food. Nothing better we can do. We move in. Everybody's going to be moved fought. And it's battle time, man, unless these want to fall back. They don't want to fall back. Handful of battle cards, man. And yeah, and kind of no matter what, these guys will be stuck at a fortress and have to either be bypassing or sieging it if they win the battle. I'm out of tea, which I think means we take a little break before we actually engage in this battle, because it's going to take a while. I'm going to try not to do too much of it on video. I've done some of these battles. This is going to be a massive one, and there are cards to be flung down on both sides. About ready to start, but you know, I showed you an earlier kind of what the dawn looks like. This is later in the day, but not by much, but the clouds are such now that, and this is from the smoke, that we just don't get that really beautiful view. This is, I think the shot my wife took. One of this, too. I hear the turkeys coming. She took a really nice shot with the fog and everything of the tree line there. Anyway, back to the game. I just wanted to catch this to show. This is why most mornings I don't. And wow, it looks a lot prettier on the camera than it does in real life. Set up the battle. This is a massive one. You don't usually see this many. The Ghibellines had to set up first. I put Astenberg in the center. He's got all those knights. And Giordano, again with knights. Provenzano with a decent amount of troops, keeping the 2 Sienese forces as my reserve. I also selected some cards, I'll talk about them in a moment, that are going to be played in round 1. People have fistfuls of cards here. Over here, the Firenze commune is just too powerful not to put in my center. And Guido over there has a fairly strong force. doesn't have the knights. He doesn't have the German knights because, well, these are the Guelphs. The Ghibellines are the ones who are supported by the Germans. And I put Luca over there. Now, my weak spot is Cole. I don't want him in the fight until I absolutely need him. Firenze might have gone in about equal to Luca there, but I figure I'll hold on to that because if that falls, that's both of these. And I'd rather let the Firenze commune do a little bit of fighting before we put it in risk. Now, the Guelphs are defending. I'm defending in a non-suburb battle. Ghibelline horse does not strike in round 1. And on a Guelph lord in battle round 1, that lord's horse melee precedes all archery and selects its targets. My most horses is over here. I don't have to be the attacker. Over here, play on Guelph lord in battle. His cavalieri take 1 hit each. One that routs joins the unrouted forces of your lord there. I'm going to play this on the Firenze. We'll get to that in a bit. And then may play in battle round 1. Take 2 assets from each enemy lord there as spoils. Then remove 2 more from each. And to make whatever happens, he's paying for this shit. So I think the assets all have to be offered up because I have to know what they are. I know what his troops are and everything, so I'm okay. It's not like there's any surprise. Like I said, remember, it's not clear that if you use the battle board that you know what things are, but the battle board is an option, and it's like, it shouldn't, I don't think it should hide everything. So I feel like everything should be kind of in the open at this point, just in terms of what's happening. So let's make our selections. What do we want? Well, we take, where is this? May play in battle, take 2 assets from each enemy lord there as spoils, and then remove 2 from each. So Guido's the first one. I'm going to get 2 carts from him. We'll just keep getting this. Cole, not a lot of assets. I'll take everything. Lucas there, we'll hold off on him. I'm going to take 2 coin from Firenze. Coin is an asset, right? Let's make sure. I think it is. Let's not go too much further. Coin, loot, provender, transport. Listed right there. Beautiful. Okay. That was Firenze. I'm holding off on Luca, like I said. Second Firenze. I take 2 more coin. What the hell? Coin is good. Coin is the best stuff I can take. I'm stealing their money. And then over at Luca, I take a coin. Taking their provender away, I think, is more damaging. But I have also in my hand, if I remember, too bad I'm not defending, Heat and Frost. Play before feed in summer or winter for wastage now. Twice at siege or if moved fought. If I'd done this in summer instead, I would also remove a unit from Guido. But right in a battle situation seems like the right time to be thinking about that. So I want this to impact stuff. I'm going to take Provender. Just because he's low on food. Really low. And that's going to cause more damage, especially with me taking the coin. I may wipe out the Guelphs even if they win. I allocated all the yummies. That's the camp attack. That's gone. The swamp is big, though. There's a really good chance the Guelphs are going to win due to all this. All right. Let's start doing the battles. We'll start over here at the Ghibelline left with Provenzano facing Guido. I got to remember what's going on. So, wait, this, we got to do this first. His cavalieri take 1 hit each, so I got to roll route checks for all of them. So, 4 of them routed, well, 5 of them routed. 3 of them are still there. 1 of them goes over to the forces of one of my lords. I don't know, maybe they aren't going to win now. That's a pretty hefty hit on If it ends his force, his cav are really important to him. Where do I want these? I'd like them in the key area of the battle, whatever that may be. Well, let's look at numbers. 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9. Astenberg could definitely take that. He would be facing him directly, so it would make the most sense to put it there. We're so fucked, though, because the Ghibelline horse doesn't strike. We got caught behind a swamp. That's going to cause us severe problems. So taking this is kind of iffy in terms of its overall value. 2, 4, 6, 8, 9, 10, 11. We'll give it to Provenzano. I don't think there's any great harm there. Now, what cards like this mean that, like, weird shit happens in the battle, right? Which is... That's fine. Which is that the amounts of troops that are on people's cards, mats, may not be amounts that they could legally seem to have, right? But you've got other stuff that's influencing that and everything too, so don't worry too much. We don't track it all in too much detail, and this is one of the reasons why I'm not sure these vassal seats make a lot of sense. We're not tracking whose troops are actually on the card at any time, right? The system doesn't do that. But they've added this weird thing where we're tracking whose seats, whose vassal seats are there for possible muster. And this is problematic. So like Cole had this guy. I wouldn't be able to muster him. Are there any others that I can't muster? This was not available at some point or another. There may be something down here. So like Siena, that lord, he's actually not available. And I didn't realize it. And I might well have taken him, right? There aren't any others that are problematic. I dodged that just through sheer luck, really. I think that is a level of detail that is adding burden to an already cluttered map, adding burden to a system that requires, too much mental gymnastics already, and not really adding that much in realism when, if you were really keeping track of things, you would keep track of which forces aligned with who, with which lord were on the field, and you wouldn't just, say, oh, well, I'm losing this lord, but he lost most of his troops. Hey, I got buddies. They're not on my property yet, but they usually don't come here when I got the door open and I'm chattering. But anyway, I just feel like it's a step too far that didn't add much. I can understand the importance of the treachery. Like, although I feel like that belongs in Almoravid as well, to some extent. Reading the history for that, I feel like, given all the alignment switches and everything, I wouldn't be shocked by that, but maybe it was a little bit more common in the Italian areas. There's a little bit more, you don't have the religious divide, for one thing, but you had equally weird shit. But there might be a card that does it or something, a single card that might align better with Almoravid than it does with this. So I'm willing to accept, hey, that's a pretty big and cool addition to the game. I'm not sure about individual seats, and when you've got all these counters on the board, it's hard enough to see what's going on. The board's been made smaller. It's just it's not worth it, as opposed to like the captured knights, which I'm kind of like, if that rule actually worked properly and you didn't like, oh, I was destroyed, but I captured a bunch of knights and told them to go to my castle and surrender themselves or whatever. If it didn't have something like that, I would kind of accept it more. I don't know. First matchup, Guido versus Provenzano here. Well, Guido gets all the first shots, right? He has archers, Provenzano does not. He has cavalry, Provenzanos are knocked out by the swamp. He does a lot of hits. He does take some hits back in the infantry melee phase, but yeah. So then the next one is going to be the Firenze commune, who has his horse melee precedes the archery and gets to select its targets. Now he has bonus horses, up to 4 of them in battle, melee strike ×2, rounds 1 and 2, and then I also have the army reserve to back that up, where they're going to strike ×2. So I'm doing 6 hits with that, and I'm doing it before anything else, and I get to pick my target so I can shoot, I can hit any archers that I'm facing. Now, Astenberg has no archers, but I can pick off the melee, the infantry, because the cav don't get to attack. Now, Astenberg's a great counter to the Firenze force because it's got so many knights. And that attack, nothing could come back because I wiped out the infantry early. And this is what I did to them. Took out a couple of their knights. Astenberg's in a lot of trouble now. He was a powerful force. He's been really negated by the swamp. His big force of knights is knocked out. This would have been played, or was played, after the selections, just so that, you know, because otherwise I would hold Astenberg out, right? You would hold your knights out. There's a real advantage to putting your knights up first. And they end up taking a fair amount of casualties, which kind of indicates that they sort of charge ahead and absorb a lot of the damage. Anyway, we had these which took 2 off the armor, and only knights were left at that point. I don't get to select targets, but if the targets are all the same, it's the same. The whole family's there. Oh, hi. Oh my. He's eating a pine cone. I didn't think they ate pine cones. That's not food, is it? All right. Spooked him, and now Mom's coming to investigate what's up. And just me looking and moving around. Oh well, she's cool. In the final fight of the round, Luca takes on Giordano and does a couple of hits. Not a hell of a lot. Luca doesn't have a very big force, but again, Giordano's main force was in his cav, and I don't know why I chose to take my hits on infantry instead of cav, but I did, and I got different friends up here now. They are coming up. Well, after... These are just so much more interesting than the game. After playing... but I guess you can watch... Oh, hi! Hi, friends! I don't know, my wife was so happy when they would come up here. Any of the little animals, and I am too now, just out of memory more than anything else. But I would be happy to see little animals or dinosaurs coming up. Jesus. They're so weird. You know, if you saw in an earlier video where they came plummeting down, the old WKRP where Les Nessman throws turkeys off the roof, I always kind of assumed they could fly too, or at least, I mean, the wild ones certainly can, but even domestic ones. But if they can't, they do have wings, and they kind of have some instinct, like chickens or whatever. They're not just going to plummet and strike the ground and turn into mush. But anyway, on to the next round of combat. I looked through my cards. Nothing else is there. Nobody can switch positions because nobody's been eliminated. You fight to the finish. You don't have, you know, reserves or whatnot that you can swap in. The reserves are there, but they're there until they're there for when somebody breaks to fill in the gaps. So they continue their way on. They just kind of wander through and eat whatever they find. A lot of advantages. Guido ran out of archers, and his cav, he's got some, but he's got to face Provenzano almost, you know, almost not even, but at about 2 to 1. He has the edge, though. He lost one man-at-arms, but you can see Provenzano's fading away pretty fast. Really forgot about the Feditore, but it's okay. Firenze ends up routing Astenberg. I looked through his cards. He doesn't have anything that helps him with rout. Somebody has one that helps with rout. He does have something that could be useful. Oh, here it is. Siena and Pisa can each restore their forces of half their lost units, which you could play right after a rout. And they both have this. They both have, you know, all their battle cards ready there. That brings me over to the last fight, which is going to be Luca versus Giordano. Luca looks like he's outmatched. Ended up getting very, very lucky with his Armiger defense rolls against something. Not against the infantry, against the horses, I guess. But Provenzano is actually weaker than Luca. Well, he's slightly stronger. He's got 2 Armigeri versus an Armigeri and a militia. Now, one thing, I gotta be careful. If I run away, the coin is fine. I can run away with the coin. But I have to actually do the withdrawal option and the pursuit. Because if I actually rout my entire force, I'm in trouble. I was thinking Luca might get routed. He did not. So we've got one rout to take into account, which is Astenberg. Runs away. I'm going to put the Siena commune in the center. Something has to go up and fill in. You can't shift until... It's all very rigid. You know, these troops are already engaged, so it kind of makes sense that they wouldn't be able to shift quickly. Now we go to the third round of combat, and this is where the army reserve, Firenze, Arezzo, and Luca, their cavalieri are bonused. Now, Arezzo is not here, Luca has none, but Firenze has 3 that are going to remain at ×2. So they're a powerful force still. I screwed up. I read this as Provanzo. I don't know what the fuck he had. This isn't good. Giordano should have been taking those hits from Luca, and I just brought Provanzo back into play against him. I'm going to leave it as it is because I can't undo it. I really don't know what things were. I just fucked up. It's really ridiculous because it was attacks across there. It's not, can't even do a hand wavy kind of like, it's okay, it's this. But whatever. I'm just going to leave it as it is. It makes Giordano a potent force, but he didn't get to roll his attacks or anything. So I don't think it worked out in favor of the Ghibellines particularly. I think Luca would have been destroyed by Giordano. Guido easily routs the beaten upon Provenzano. Unfair, but whatever. Live with it, folks. That's all I got. Now I got the 2 communes facing each other, but we got doubled horses here. But the Armigeri are armed here with missiles. And this guy still goes first with his missiles, but his Armigeri also have really good armor. But the Siena commune, however, I think this applies to the commune as well. I have to look that up. I don't want to play this yet. I want to take the route because I can do it after Siena also loses forces, and then they both get half their forces back. That's a big bonus. And those doctors may prevent, like, knights from being captured. Don't ask me about that. But yeah, the Siena commune was pretty much wiped out without doing a hell of a lot. You can see a couple of the Cavalieri were knocked out. Plus some of these villains. I took hits on them as quickly as possible because they're a feeding penalty. They don't get a roll, right? They don't get a roll, and they're just gone from the... I can just take them off the board. They don't have any impact whatsoever because they don't have a survival roll after the combat. Oh, yeah. So it says auto remove on here. I don't think the doctors can work on them. The doctors wouldn't, you know. Luca is also routed. You know, I think Giordano actually did his hits against Luca because Provenzano was so weak. I think I just took the damage on Provenzano. I don't know which way that goes, but we leave it as is. So Provenzano's routed. What do we got? I think we have this. And now he gets to choose either Firenze or Colle. Colle is too weak to put in the field. That means these guys are going to be combining against Siena. That's not very good. I think we're going to run away. What are our numbers like? We have Giordano against Firenze. He's not bad. Yeah, that's a good matchup. But Siena versus this commune, that looks like the commune still has the edge on us. Yes, though, we do have the opportunity to bring some forces back in the reserves. We're also facing Guido. We're going to run away this time. I don't know which way. See, it's yellow and says half hits, but it also says pursuit, so I don't know which way to put it. The half hits are the people running away. Is easily routed by the combined forces. Giordano almost routes Firenze. I made a choice to hold off and take my losses on my Cavaliere last, even though they struck already and the infantry hadn't, because I would rather not have to pay for captured forces. Okay, that is the end. We're withdrawing. The question is, do I want to play the doctors at this point? And I think the answer is no. It'll mean keeping, well, I don't know. I'm going to have a partial Sienese force on the board no matter what. It's an interesting question. And I could do the same with the Firenze as well. Now, what's weird is, again, there's something fucked up in the card. It says play at the outset of the battle, when obviously it's something you would play to reduce damages. Now, maybe you just play it at the outset of the battle, but then when do you call it into play? Is it after the whole battle's over? I don't know. Let me look at it again. Because if it was if it had to be played at the outset of the battle, both sides would have played it. So see, yeah, I think it did have to be. Play in battle or storm for Siena or Pisa each to restore. That's what the card itself says, right? That's copied here. It sounds like you can just kind of play it whenever you like. But then play at the outset of a battle or storm after all loss rolls. Loss rolls 4.4, I believe, are the rolls that come and I think I was just being confused. But again, it should say play before battle to reduce the losses later. It's just horribly, horribly done. Loss rolls 4.4 is after the entire battle. So yeah, both people played this at the beginning of the battle. We knew this was a big battle. We wanted to play it. I have the bloody red stream over here that I could have played when Luca routed. I think I did the right thing by not playing it. Because it was pretty obvious I'm winning the battle. I would rather hold that card unless it's something I really wanted to play, but it would keep him in place there. It gives me another militia archery. I don't have a whole lot of militia in the game overall, so I think this is fine. This guy adds, 3. I just don't feel like it's that many. Guido has a pile of them, so I'll hold on to that for where it can steady a force and continue the fight better. So I swap batteries, I go to the book, and I start figuring out what happens. I'm using the battle in storm to try to make things a little easier. It's a little clumsy to deal with, but once I get used to it, it'll be easier than the rule book. I'm at retreat. So we retreat into unbesieged, unbypassed enemy, where no unbesieged, or withdraw into friendly stronghold, or permanently removed. Our entire force is going to fall back. We have to go back to where we came from, which is here, actually. Okay. Then we're going to check losses. Is this handled here? Retreating without conceding others roll their unmodified protection. And at this point, then, we bring the doctors in for the relevant. So I'll be back after that. I noticed something I don't like here. Cavalier Ritter, who roll 3 through 6 after battle or from sacked garrison or removed lord to captured box. Which feels a little different than how it feels different from how I interpreted it. Let's look at the rules again, because, again, I feel like rules take precedence over player aids. Put any Cavaliere or Ritter horse unit that was removed in battle on a roll of 3 through 6 into the owner. So it had to be removed from battle for that to work. And this is a big deal, because otherwise, if you read it the way it says on the player aid, every knight who gets routed is going to be captured on a 3 through 6. If you take it the way I'm reading this, it means at least the loser who lost badly is the only one who loses anything on 3s and 4s for Ritters. But yeah, there just is something very wrong with this knight's ransom going on. Of course, the units that are lost get restored by the doctors, so they didn't get captured. The doctors prevent their capture. That was something I wanted to highlight again. Fucked up, man. Did this with Firenze. He had only lost Cavalieri. He ends up having 2 captured, and a couple of them saved from capture by the doctors. We go to Firenze, and we got a problem. I'm going to roll for this, but it says I get to restore half my units. It looks to me like I get to pick. So the doctors are really potent. They're going to make it so like my militia got killed. Like they're going to take the militia and trade body parts or something for the knights. I don't know what's going on here, but there's something really fucked up with these doctor cards. Oh shit. It's only Firenze and Arezzo who were affected by this. I had other losses which took place, and I don't know what the fuck they were. Fucking shit. Like, I knew that, but again, the overburden of all the mechanical actions and everything else is causing me issues here. Luca was routed, but I don't remember. I don't remember what survived. I know this survived. I think we'll take that off. I don't know. And Guido had some routed units. I don't know how much. Fuck it. We'll just let it last. He had better doctors, man. Better doctors than he should have. But the doctors are incredibly potent as it stands. Like, they really are effective. Okay, let's look at his doctors. Siena and Pisa. Pisa is not in the battle, so I will only use doctors on Siena. The weird situation here, I rolled Siena's commune. They lost a bunch of Cavalieri for real. And then I'm rolling for these and actually hoping that they die, because otherwise I only get 2 of my 4. Oh, now the little ones are here. It's like a mob of teens. And that means, since this had to be somewhere between a 3 and a 6, there goes a Ghibelline Knight. Oh, get a little bit of a... Okay, so we have something left here. These guys sort of iffy, but Astenberg, somehow he kept his entire force. He lost one militia, and that's it. Remember, he routed, and everything went away. So now we go to the next place on here, and again, this may not be complete, right? We rolled our losses. We go to spoils. Winners take from losers who retreated without conceding. No. Conceded and retreated. Excess provender, so retreat not laden. Okay. Well, we retreated along a road. We cannot be laden. Yay, we survive. We get everything. We keep it all. Right. Now, service. I always forget this exists. I have to roll for each retreating but not withdrawing lord. These were retreats. To see how much service they lose. Astenberg gets a big 6. He loses 3 spaces. He may be in trouble. 1, 2, 3. Did I completely forget to do this in other battles? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. That's Astenberg. Siena. It's by the Lord, right? Yeah, it would have to be. A big 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Now realize, and then the Sienese, 1, 2, 3. It's going to cost me a shitload of money to get these guys, to keep these guys on the field. And if I don't keep them on the field, they're perhaps permanently destroyed, depending. Like Astenberg would be permanently destroyed. So he becomes a key focus that I want to get him at least to here and probably higher because his force is still in good shape. But we shall see. And we're going to take a look at the rules. Shift max 1. Well, that's cryptic. Shift max 1. What is this rule number? Do we have it? No, they don't give me the rule numbers next to these so that I could look them up. Now, I know where it is about. It's somewhere near here. The losing side rolls 1 die for each of its retreating lords and shifts that service marker. Exception. If each lord of the side that retreated with a Carraccio only goes 1 back. We had 3 back for everybody. So it's actually going to go 1, 2, 1, 2. This feels so bad. And this is why it wasn't too bad last time. Okay. So we don't need to spend. And we have an option to. Yeah, I don't have to roll, right? Because everything goes 1. Let's try to find that rule again. Let's make sure. God, I'm fucking hungry. And I've eaten most of a pizza today, tonight, whatever. Where is it? The losing side rolls 1 die for each of its retreating lords and shifts that lord's service marker, and if using this blah blah blah, left 1 box on a 1 or 2, 2 boxes 3 or 4, 3 boxes on a 5 or 6 exception. If you retreated with a Carraccio, you shift service just 1 box left, which means everybody's going 1 box left. So Giordano. And Provenzano. I don't know where he is. There he is. And this goes back on the board. Right then. Okay. Now we look again. That was service. Aftermath. Mark all lords, move fought. Yeah. Discard any hold events played. Do we have any still kicking around? We have this. This isn't gone yet. That's not from the battle. The others we've been discarding as needed. If battle starts a siege, place a marker. It did not. And yeah, I fucked up tons of shit, didn't I, on this one. Oh, you know what else I forgot? I forgot the half losses for the pursuit. Shit. I don't know. I don't think much was done. I'm just losing it here. I am totally losing it. There's no Sally raid. Recovery. No more actions. Go to feed, pay, disband. Everybody's got to feed. And we got problems here. Back 2, back 3, back 4. Oh, I got to recount the troops. And we're low on battery. I got to swap battery too. Right. So the numbers were right. Back 2, back 3, back 4, back 5, 6, 7. Nobody feeds. There's no food. Okay, that means all purples except Luca are going back. Just one space. This is Luca. That's Luca. All of them go back. Now I pay. I have no money. Now I disband. Guido is disbanded. He is not gone from the game because he's at service limit, but he does come off the board. His service is 1, 2, 3, 4. He's not coming in anytime soon. We did a lot of damage from what? Because, I mean, the Ghibellines retreated, they lost the battle, whatever, but they did a lot of damage because of the camp strike. And the fact that, like, they got to choose what stuff they took. They took the money and the provender and basically left this unable to do anything. Now, if I had lost the battle, all of that would have gotten captured. What the hell is a dive service? Bring you to a bar? I don't know. Anyway, if I lost the battle through an involuntary retreat, as opposed to choosing to retreat, things would have gone very badly because I would have lost most of the stuff. But as it is, I'm retreating along a road, no problem. I'm not overburdened. I could even take loot along that, I think. I don't know. Anyway, no big deal. On this side, what's our feed situation? Well, our numbers may be different. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. He's at feed 2. That's what it says. It looks like 3 to me, but it says 2. Luca is here. Luca didn't get a pass. Luca also leaves the board. My mistake. I was confusing him with Pisa over there. So Luca is also gone. He's a Podesta, so he wouldn't disappear permanently no matter what. He had 4 food. Fuck. He could have kept somebody alive. God damn it. I'm just screwing everything up. Well, I don't know. I don't fucking know anymore. So Luca was there. He could have fed the dude who disappeared. He could have fed himself. Fucking hell. I don't know what to do. I think I need to quit. I really do. Like, this particular video has just wrecked the game. And it's for the reason that I've had struggled with it before, right? Like, yes, I'm tired right now. I'm fucking hungry. I don't want to play. I want to be eating. I want to go to sleep. I don't want to play this stupid thing. But I've been blundering around with this game because of the overburdening. It just isn't sticking. And the rest of the Levian campaign is hard enough. And this one just pushed me over the fucking edge. I don't know if I can reconstruct this. It sucks because it's a close game. It has gotten to be a close game again because of the success at Coley, that big jump. That's enough points that another nice success would swing things very differently. But I just don't fucking know what to do. I really don't. I really don't fucking know what to do. Like, this whole battle has been filled with errors and it is the key battle of the game in the whole thing. So I think I'm just calling it here, but I don't know. I'm gonna walk away. I'm probably unable to fix this. Let's get the feeding for these fuckers done, just because. Well, did I count? I was in the middle of counting. 2, 5. He's no longer hard to feed. And I don't know if this counts as a unit. 3, he's nothing. 5, 3. So the Ghibellines took heavy, heavy losses, right? If I got to keep Guido, who had a big, nice force, and Luca, and I could have paid them both off in terms of food, these other guys are all in okay shape. There's a big Guelph force waiting here for the Ghibellines. And the Ghibellines are in a situation where, sure, you know, I did some serious damage through that camp raid, but not that much. Mainly I just have fuckloads of money, which is nice and all, but it doesn't really do a hell of a lot except allow me to trigger treacheries. And I still have to deal with this big army. This big army would be without provender, but it's got a route back. When we enter into the spring here, it would be fine. And I think I just fucked up a really interesting situation. Maybe I can come up with something that allows me to figure out what Guido should be at. Maybe I can look at the video and see what I moved and what should be where. Because the thing is, because I'm playing with the vassals, it's not just that Luca and Guido were here. It's where were their vassals, what were their troop strengths, everything like that. I've got to look that all up. Anyway, let's look at the food here. Astenberg eats twice. Siena. Eat. Giordano, I owe a food for him. And I owe a food for Provenzano. I'll take them off Astenberg because he's still good at supplying, I think. Although it's a little iffy. I don't even know how to represent this. I'll throw a bunch of dice there. And you'll find out whether or not I can figure out something that I can make this work with. Well, here we are in the wee hours, the very weeest hours of Monday morning. And, you know, at least since about this time, a day ago, whatever, I've been pretty much handcuffed by the existence of this situation. Playing a lot of Raid, but not doing much else, and honestly, I'm of the opinion that it's a fool's errand to try to continue. Sure, I could do something to reconstruct the two forces that were going, especially if I went back and looked at the video, whatever, but I feel like I've made so many errors in the last couple turns that whatever I reconstruct is just not going to be particularly of value in terms of, you know, hey, does the game, you know, what comes of the game? Does it continue? I could also just say, screw it, I made a mistake, deal with it, and leave the Guelphs in the situation that they're in, the victory point total isn't that far apart. That's not necessarily a good thing, because it means a call to arms isn't available. But the Ghibellines are, themselves reduced, etc. It is completely possible I could just continue on the way I was. Again, though, to what end? I think I've seen enough of this game to be able to pass whatever judgment I can on it. And in terms of, hey, what would the result be? What's the story that comes out of it and everything? Honestly, I just don't care now. I really don't. The hammer of how easy it is to fuck up based on, at least for me, based on the amount of information that's present in this game and a number of other factors. To me, it's just, there's too much hanging on the framework of the Levian campaign system. Even after playing, right, Almoravid a couple of times, playing this once before and screwing shit up, anyway, that's the main issue that I have with this one. I'm not going to say it's a bad game or anything like that, because it clearly, if one is able to read in all the information that's available, and cope with the tightness of the map, the quantity of markers that are up there, which again, that's an optional rule, one that hasn't really caused issues with any of the other games. There doesn't seem to be anything terribly wrong here, right? There's actually a really interesting set of additional factors in the game. But anyway, all that said, I just don't see much value to trying to play it out to get whatever is left of the story to come, especially after this kind of disruption happened. So up this goes. I'll come with a review, although, pretty much summed it up right there in terms of what the important facets of this one in particular are. But I know more people watch my reviews than anything else. Well, maybe more watch the intros, because they get what they're used to in a review, which is, here are the rules and kind of what I might think about them, but I'm giving a completely uninformed opinion in many cases, because, I haven't played the game much at that point. Anyway, or it's been a long time since I played the game in case of some of the older ones. Let's send this up and, well, we'll get a review and then a book discussion out.